All right, boys, today on Project Mustang, we're going to be upgrading our factory cassette player that's part of the Mach 460 sound system that's from, 1994 when the car was built with this. And so this is some cheap little Amazon deal. I think it's a 5-inch screen that I got. I'll post a link up down below to it. But it was like maybe around 50 bucks. But the cool thing is I'll be able to plug in my phone and then have the phone play on the screen with my Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so I can have Google Maps on here, all that stuff showing up, which I'm going to need for some of the long distance tours that I want to do with this car. It's a pain in the ass just trying to look at the phone. So now it'll display right here. I also didn't want to go with the double DIN because I didn't want to lose that bottom space where I have the Holley Terminator little 3.5-inch screen. So plus I just want to make it simpler, make it cheaper, instead of having to buy the double DIN housing and all that stuff. This is just should be a simple drop-in replacement. So stay tuned. So as far as components go, here's this unit. So again, it's a single DIN unit, but it's got this kind of overlarge, 5-inch screen. I think it kind of looks kind of cool. I mean, kind of like, it doesn't look too modern, it's still got some knobs on it and stuff, but it looks like I'll basically be able to just, plug my phone in here. I'll also have some charging access too. So it should be cool, and again, this was cheap. Also comes with your microphone for your Bluetooth hands-free. I'll probably install that somewhere. It also comes with a backup camera. There's the backup camera right there. So if you want to put a backup camera on your car, you could install that as well. I'm not going to, because that's a pain in the ass to have to route that wire all the way to the back. I just don't care enough, It's a convertible, right? You turn around, you can see right out the back. It's fine. So it gives you all the wiring crap. And then what we're going to need to connect the wiring from the back of this thing, you're just going to need one of your Metra adapter kits. This is the 705511. So this is the one for, I guess, the premium sound, which is the Mach 460 system that we have. And again, I got this on Amazon. It was like $5 or something. So I'll post all the links down below. You can check them out. But anyway, so it should be pretty easy. First things first, I'm going to go ahead and get the bezel torn apart, because I do want to verify that this is going to work before we get too crazy, connecting all this stuff together, because with the way this big 5-inch screen is, I just want to make sure it's not going to hit the protrusion on the factory bezel, make sure it'll actually install. Looks like there's a good gap there, maybe 1/4 inch, so I'm just hoping that's enough that it'll be able to install, and fully seat. So I'm going to get that, started. We'll try that first. If it all works, awesome, and then we can start the install of all this. Hopefully this all works out, because right now what I've been rocking is this little adapter, and this is actually a really cool little Bluetooth adapter that I also bought on Amazon, but it just plugs into the cigarette lighter, and then you set the station that is programmed here to the station here, and then you can just Bluetooth wirelessly right through to the radio. And it works okay. It's not great. You still get kind of some staticky sounds. It's not crystal clear audio or anything. But, again, this was like super cheap also, 5, 10, maybe 15 bucks. Bought that last year. Link will be down below too if you want to check it out. But that's been really cool for the time being. At least I've been able to just, plug my phone in. It still charges through this, and then at least I can play some actual real music, keep the kids happy when they're in the back and all that stuff. All right, so luckily I found my second tool for the radio removal. So we can go ahead now, and we should be able to get this thing pulled out of here. So basically, once you get these things adjusted in, you're supposed to just push out to the sides. That should push the spring. And then it'll allow you to pull this out of there somehow. All right, now with the radio out, now we can start to look at pulling out this bolt right here. So this is the one I was mentioning. It's the same 7mm as these two bolts here. So it also takes a Torx, no idea what size it is, but long extension, we're gonna pop that out. Then the whole bezel should come out. But just a tip, do not take out these bolts here until you have the radio out. So I kind of preemptively took those bolts out, and then when I was trying to pull the radio, it takes a lot of force, and it was actually pulling like the whole bezel, and I just couldn't get the radio out. But as soon as I put those bolts back in, gave it a tug, popped right out. So pull your radio off first, get that done, then these 2 bolts. You don't even need to take this off. I just popped it up because I wasn't sure what the heck was going on. But we should be able to get that bolt out, and then we're just going to pry this whole panel off, and then we can get in here and start figuring out all the wiring crap and get the Metra connector kit connected to this kit, and then it's just plug and play. It should be pretty simple. All right, so for my particular system, this is a 94 Mustang with the Mach 460 sound system or whatever, and I've just got 2 connectors on the back of my radio and then the antenna wire. Anyway, this should be all we need. So now we just got to take the adapters from the Metra kit that we'll plug into here and then just adapt those free wires over to the wires that will connect into the back of our new radio here. And then that's all there is to it. Now, what I need to go do, what I forgot to do before I actually pulled off the bezel, I wanted to actually stab the new radio in and just make sure it all worked, but I forgot. I got it ripped off. So I think I'm just gonna go over the bench real quick, slide this thing through here and just make sure it all looks good. And then if it does, then we'll proceed. Okay, so I've got this just kind of sitting in here, right? There's nothing holding it. But it doesn't seat all the way back, right? You can kind of see where, you can see some of the silver and stuff behind it, right? But the way that it goes back far enough, it looks like we can make it work because it's got these tabs, all along the top, all along the sides. And so I should be able to just bend those tabs out, and then that'll hold it to the bezel. And then basically we just install it, into the car as just one unit, right? We'll just connect it up, pop it on in. And then if we ever need to remove the radio, we just simply pop the entire bezel. Yeah, I think this will work because I do not want to cut, I really don't want to cut the factory bezel or anything out. I like to just leave it how it is. So especially for like a $40 or $50 radio, we don't even know if this thing might be just a total piece of junk. The screen might suck. So we might want to throw it in the garbage later. So yeah, I'd rather not cut my bezel, So this is cool. I think it's going to work. This is going to be awesome, man. Can't wait. Just plug in my phone, have my Google Maps playing on there. That's primarily what I want this for. And then, of course, also to control music, songs, Bluetooth, be able to play through here. So that will be sweet. So again, with these connectors with the wiring, this is going to plug into the factory Mustang harness. I think this is like the power side, harness and everything. And then this is the one with our radio, so you can see how all the colors kind of match up. So we're just going to take our, 6 wires. There's probably even more on this one. There's like 8 on here. So we'll just connect what we have. There'll probably be a couple extra. And then same on here, you can see how most of the wire colors all match up. So we just go ahead and wire them all up. The Metra harness package on the back, they kind of tell you what everything is, so that'll help you out if you have any questions on what it is or whatever. But it should be pretty straightforward, so I'm just going to start connecting them up. Now for connecting these wires together, there's a bunch of different stuff, right? A lot of times, like when you used to go to your radio shops, they just use the little like nuts, I guess, kind of like what you'd see in house wiring. And that's totally fine. Honestly, that's probably what I'd do right now if I had those. I just don't have any that would be like this right, wire size. So what I do have that's going to be relatively simple is I've just got a bunch of these weatherproof butt connectors, and they do have heat shrink tubing on them, so you can just heat shrink them. So it's probably overkill for some stupid radio wiring, but I've got a million of them from this kit, that I got on Amazon or whatever. So I think the link for this is down below, but you can get these kits on Amazon super cheap, like $10. You get freaking all this different crap. So great for wiring, great for little projects like this. So I'm just going to go through now. We'll connect, 16, 14 connections. What a pain in the butt. And then we'll get it going. All right, so let me catch you guys back up. With the speaker connector deal, this went together wire for wire, no problem, all 8 of them, easy peasy, right? Then I got into this bad boy, and there's only 6 wires on here, and yellow one's good, you know, red's good, those are like power and switch power, black was fine. Then we get into the 2 blue wires, right? So this solid blue is for the antenna. This blue with the white tracer, this is for the amp turn on, right? So this harness didn't have a blue and a white. So I was looking through, and in the instructions, they kind of give you a little layout, but this brown, it shows is like the key, says key. I'm guessing that means key on ignition, which is what we want, steering wheel control. And then later down here, somewhere, it shows, yeah, brown for the key. It shows that it's positive, and then the black ground is grounded, right? So I'm thinking that this will work to turn on our amp. So and then everything I read online, I was doing some research, you know, the amp turn on, it's low voltage, low power, it's just probably turning on some kind of relay. So that should be cool. The other weird thing was this orange wire from the MetroPack, you know, Mustang side, this is for illumination, but then on this side, when I looked at their little diagram, green is actually for illumination. So I'm kind of glad I read that, because what it is for the orange on this side is it's for like a parking brake cable. So I assume that it needs to see this power to be able to watch videos or something, you know, while the car's stopped, something like that. I don't know, but planning on not using that. And then the green or the pink, that's going to be for the reverse like camera, which we're not using, right? So these 2 should not be used, and then these are the 6 that we're using. So hopefully this works. Otherwise, I'll have to see if we can figure out, you know, if one of these other wires will work. Basically, this is the one I'm worried about, right? The amp turn on. The illumination, not a big deal, I guess, but we want our amp to turn on, otherwise we'll have no sound. So before we put it all back in, I'm just going to, and even heat shrink it, I'm just going to go take the whole unit real quick, go plug it in, test it. All right, so I plugged this thing in, it powered right up, that's all good, I got the key over, but we're getting no sound, so there is an issue with that amp turn on wire. So the brown, was it brown? Whatever we had it connected to, must not have 12 volts. So let me play around with this, we'll figure out the wires, and then we'll come right back. Okay, so I probed these guys with my testy little probe tool. This thing's freaking awesome. Got it on Amazon, you just boop, put it on the ground, test it, gives you an audible alert, it's freaking awesome. But basically, I was hoping I could use this orange wire or pink wire. Neither of these guys have an output coming out of them, so there's no, you know, 12 volts coming. But the blue antenna wire has 12 volts and it doesn't turn off. I was reading that sometimes on like newer cars, they'll turn the antenna off if the radio's not working, but even in this case, when I have like my phone playing through like the wire, it still kept that 12 volts. So I'm kind of thinking I can just tie the blue antenna and the blue with white and amp turn on together, and then hopefully that'll work. All right, we got this connected. Let's see if we get some static. All right, that works. Amp is being turned on now because we got our 2 blue wires, so I've got this just temporarily crimped right here. So I'm gonna pull this harness back out. Let's go get everything, you know, all kind of finished, finalized, to make it look beautiful, and then we're gonna stick this thing in for the last time. All right, final product, all taped up, ready to go install. All right, boys, check it out.
Music festival is happening, and you can be there.
Oh, we got some stuff. Now, the radio in this car, it's kind of always sucked, or at least it sucked ever since I put on that little, you know, whatever, 6-inch stubby antenna. So that's cool. I don't really listen to the radio anyway. So now we're able to just power this bad boy in here and be able to have Apple CarPlay and all that kind of stuff. All right, so check it out. Got my wife's phone. So if we just literally plug her little Android in here, boom, connects automatically. Brings up her music. You can do your GPS stuff, and it just kind of mirror links it all. So gonna be sick. And I like having knobs, you know, so you got knobs for your volume control right there next to you, all that good stuff. Now we can just link in, dude, rock our jams out. So gonna be freaking awesome. And it only costs like what, $55 or something. It was like maybe 40, 50 bucks for the unit, and then like another $5 for the Metra. Where I thought about doing like a big double din, but then you had to spend, you know, 55 bucks just on the surround. Then I think you needed like some more components or something to make it all work. And anyway, so I thought I'd do this. Plus this gives me a spot to put the Holly here as well. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I just remembered I did totally forget to hook up the microphone. So I'm just really curious to see how it works. Probably going to be horrible, but I just kind of quickly ran it. Where is it? Right here. So I just kind of, you know, looped it through, grabbed it from underneath, dropped it in there. I don't know what we're going to do with it, but stick it somewhere. Maybe it'll hide right there. Anyway, but got that back in. So I just got to stab the radio back in real quick, and we'll test that out, see if it works. All right, so for this microphone, I just ended up zip tying it around the emergency flasher thing, so should be cool. I had my wife call me a minute ago, and she said it actually sounds pretty good, and I could hear her like perfectly clear coming through. So I actually set some of my radio stations, so they're actually coming in pretty good. So I think part of the problem was I didn't have the antenna kind of pushed in far enough. Our cars have like a right angle antenna, and this one kind of needs like a straight antenna so it can go all the way in, I think. But yeah, good enough. So that's cool. So yeah, so far things pretty good. The touchscreen seems to work pretty well. Doesn't have any issues. You know, the navigation was cool. We tried that out earlier. You know, and then also like I used Amazon Music, that all popped right up, worked out really well. So this thing is pretty freaking awesome. I mean, I can't believe how cheap like electronics have come, right? You can get this for 40 or 50 bucks. You know, I remember, man, when I was a kid, 18, 19, I wanted to go buy like, you know, a $300 crappy radio, you know, like the Alpine and all that stuff. The Kenwoods, man, you could spend $1,000, you know, even back then, right? And all you were getting was a stupid little single din radio, and now you got all this stuff that just blows that out of the water for $40 or $50. It's crazy. So that's going to be it for this one, guys. If you're thinking about putting a radio into your Mustang and you don't want to go with a double din and go through all that work and just want something you can slide right in real easy, I would definitely check out this one off Amazon. There's plenty of others as well. But again, I wanted that kind of big 5-inch screen just to maximize the screen size and be able to see the maps and stuff while I'm driving, just to help me with mostly navigation, but then also for sure to have my tunes. So like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll catch you boys on the next one.